Today I made an experimental flour with lemon curd and huckleberry jam, which are both homemade. And today I'm going to take you guys through how to make this beauty. We have not taste tested it yet, so I can't actually even tell you if it's good. But I will tell you by the end of the video if it's good. So come along with me as we make this beauty.
Hey everybody, this here is Lyric Watson. Oh wait, you did film it.
I have been, but I think I'm just going to start saying lyric now.
I got beat.
Hey everybody, welcome to the baking show. Bye everybody.
Alright, that was my husband. And there's my daughter right there. Elizabella, you cannot be in this video, so you have to go outside. Goodbye. It's a nut house around here. I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Today, I'm gonna take you guys through how to make some lemon curd and the flour bread. We're going to fill the flour bread with the lemon curd and the huckleberry jam. So it's going to be a little bit of an experimental process because I've never filled one with both of those fillings before. I don't see why it wouldn't be a streamlined process though. I'm not taking you through how to make the huckleberry jam because I'm out of huckleberries. Hopefully we're gonna get some more this week and then maybe I can take you guys through a video on how to make the huckleberry jam. But today, just lemon curd and the flour bread. I'm hopefully gonna catch it step by step so you guys aren't missing anything, and I'm gonna link the recipes for what I use. I drizzle my flour bread with a glaze. It's just my own glaze recipe. I just do it by taste pretty much every time. I kind of have a base recipe, but I follow the flour bread recipe, otherwise known as the Christmas star, and I use a recipe for the lemon curd. So I will let you guys know what those recipes are and we will get started. I have the worst kitchen to do these videos because, as you can see, the light is coming from this direction, the natural lighting, but my kitchen is in a U over here and there's no counter space over there, so there's no natural light. I will need to get I think it's called a ring light, probably in the future. I'm gonna get my apron. And we will get started. All right, grab a cutting board. My cutting board is, oops, of course. My cutting board is, as you can see, it's a disaster. I do not have a quality cutting board and you don't need one either, but I'd like to have one someday. I zest the lemons first. If you do not zest your lemons first, you will regret it. That's all I'm gonna say. Take your stickers off of your lemons as well. We need 2 tablespoons. Usually 2 lemons will do it if they're pretty good sized like this. But they might not give you 2 tablespoons. It just depends, honestly. I've read some recipes that say, oh, this amount of lemons will roughly give you this. But it really does depend on the lemon and the size. You're gonna wanna combine your zest and lemon. The recipe calls for you to use a food processor to get the oils more extracted from the lemon zest and have them mix up better. I don't have one of those. Again, missing a lot of the standard things. It's okay though. You can still make it work without, and I have never had a problem, and the lemon curd is delicious. Squeeze your lemon juice. This is how I like to do it because it just catches all the seeds. You can do it with your fingers or squeeze it all into a bowl and strain out the seeds later. You will need a half a cup of lemon juice. Another trick is rolling the lemon to get the juice, get the juices going. You're going to want, you could just say, you're going to want 6 egg yolks. The way I do this is just in my hands. I believe they have little utensils that you can get the egg yolk out with, or use a sieve. I'm not sure if a sieve's holes are big enough. This is the way I do it though. Crack the egg. I just kind of let the white drop beneath my fingers, and you have an egg yolk. Easy peasy. I always love it when there's 6 eggs because they just look like a little flower. Just give them a little whisk like that. Oh my goodness. Failure on camera. I grabbed the wrong bowl. I just put the eggs, the egg yolk, the egg whites back in with the egg yolk. All right, you guys, back to the basics. Mix together your 6 egg yolks. Right bowl, whisk in the sugar until it's lighter in color. This is about the color of lightness you'll want your mixture to be. And then you just pour in your lemon juice and mix on a low setting. As you can see, it's starting to froth a little bit, and it will get more frothy as you continue to whisk it. It will look really frothy at one point, and that's okay, because as it thickens, it'll go away. So you can see it's starting to thicken a little bit, but it's not quite there. You'll know when it starts to bubble a little bit, just beginning to bubble, and it can cover the back of the spoon. A little story time while I'm stirring this lemon curd as it's broaching upon its thickness. I initially started it over there last time, and that burner is great for getting things boiling quickly. Its low setting is absolutely atrocious. I sat here and whisked my lemon curd for longer than 30 minutes when it's supposed to only take about 10, give or take. It was quite the experience. It took me quite a bit to realize what was going on before I decided, oh, I need to move this to a different burner. When it is starting to get closer, I like to slow down my whisking so I can truly see when it starts to bubble. You'll see a few bubbles start to pop up when it's ready, and you just pull it off. You can see some bubbles starting to form. Oh, there's one. There's 2. Okay, I'm gonna pull it off, you guys. You will want to pull it through a sieve to get rid of the lemon zest. If you really love lemon zest, you can just leave it in there. But if you pull it through the sieve, it's so silky smooth. Providing you with quality screwing up every day. I forgot to put the butter in. So before all that, you just drop in a half a cup of cold. His recipe says unsalted. I use salted butter. Use your own preference. And you're supposed to do it right when you pull it off the stove. I didn't, so I put it right back on just to mix in the melted, so the butter will melt. And then you can pull it through the sieve and jar it. Fits right into a mason jar, just like that. Should look something like this. And it will set up. We're gonna make the flour bread dough and let it rise. My bowl has a little bit of dust in it. Or a little bit of something, and I don't know what it is. You're gonna need a measuring cup. About 2 cups. Or just could just use one that's 1 cup, but I wouldn't. Or just a bowl, whatever. It's easier to do it in a measuring cup though, because then you don't have to transfer bowls or anything like that. You're gonna need yeast and milk, water, an egg, sugar, all-purpose flour, salt, and butter. And whatever jam you want to fill that beautiful star/flower. First thing I do is I fill up my measuring cup with milk and water and put it in the microwave until it gets to, I think there's an exact temperature that you're supposed to have it at to where it's best for the yeast. I don't have a thermometer. As such, I don't know what that temperature is. I just feel it with my finger. It's about bath water temperature. I'm gonna go fill this with water and milk. Water and milk, and you put a little bit of, I take a little bit of the sugar that's supposed to go in the bowl, pour it in here, and it helps it froth faster. Just give it anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes and it's all frothy. You don't actually have to do that. If your yeast is, I think, a fast acting yeast, I do it regardless though. It's just habit at this point. It's 1/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup of milk. Just use a little whisk here and taste test it, temperature test it with my finger. If you have packaged yeast, it's 2 1/4 teaspoons is what's in your package. If you don't, that's what you're gonna want to measure out. It's 1/4 cup of sugar. I just take a little bit of the sugar. If I was a real professional at this, you guys, I guess I am a professional, as my husband always says, because I'm doing this and making money off of it. But if I was a seasoned professional, I would have all these pre-measured, like most people do, but I don't. I just put a little bit in there and leave the rest and dump it in the bowl. You can give it another little whisk. And after about 5 minutes, it will be bubbly and frothy. You guys have seen my flour baby before. It's a huge thing of flour. I have another one for bread flour, but I don't use bread flour as often. This recipe, you can also interchangeably use bread flour, just so you know. I have done it before. That's how I used to make it solely, and I switched to all-purpose because it's more tender. But do as you please. You're gonna take half of what it calls for on the flour, or a little over half. And I think this recipe calls for 3 1/4 to 3 3/4 cups of flour. I usually just put 2 cups in, and then you slowly will add the rest of the flour after all your wet ingredients are mixed in, because if you add all of your dry ingredients first and then mix in all your wet ingredients, your dough will not be wet enough. It'll just be too dry and tacky, and that is not what we want. Sister over there, do you guys think I should name her? I feel like now is the time to name her. And I believe, and I'm feeling in my soul, that her name should be Bertha. So a name has been birthed, and it is Bertha, the flour jar. I'll have to figure out the name for my bread flour jar at another time. You'll need another whisk, a teaspoon of salt, that's all the dry ingredients. It's really simple. Just kind of sift it together with a whisk. It doesn't need to be the most amazing sifting job. A little salt container. And you're gonna need a room temperature egg. I'm also not going to tell you guys another lie and say I haven't used cold eggs before. I definitely have. It still turns out I don't notice a difference. There might be one, and I may not just be attuned to noticing that difference. Today is going to be one of those days we're using a cold egg. I think the reason I don't have a problem with the room temperature egg or the cold egg is because I crack it and then put it in the warm milk water. I could be wrong. Okay, back to business. 1/4 cup of butter. So you'll need half a stick. And you are simply going to dump all of this into your bowl with the dry ingredients. And just stir. Mash up the butter as you're doing it. It doesn't need to be perfect because you are going to be kneading this bread or this dough, so it doesn't need to be everything perfectly mixed. It's going to be lumpy and ugly at first. A little bit of flour at a time. This will be the 1/3 cup. It's going to be a little shaggy before you start kneading it. And this is usually about the point I like to dump it on the counter. You can dump it on the counter at any point you want, or you can knead it in the bowl. I don't like doing that. You are welcome to do as you please, though. It is your kitchen and your baking ethics. So I just fill a cup, a little extra for dusting. It's not needed. I just sprinkle a pretty generous amount onto the counter. Dump my little dollop of dough. I believe they have scrapers specifically made to help you with your dough. Picking it up off the counter, I just use this. I think it's a pastry cutter. It's, well, this is a pastry cutter, but that also I use as a pastry cutter to cut my pastries. I'm not sure what the exact name is of that. I usually scrape down the sides of my bowl. Some people like to put their dough in a whole nother bowl. I am not that person. When it's rising, I just stick it back in the same bowl. Why make another dirty dish? I know that, you know, it could be because of the dough that's left on the sides. But as I said, I try to just scrape as much of it off as I can. And then I just keep this little cup, like I said, right here. And I just start sprinkling and kneading. There are all kinds of kneading techniques. I'm not going to be the person to tell you there is a right or a wrong way. But as soon as I get mine going, you'll see I like to squish, pull, squish, pull, squish, pull, just in an X or infinity motion. You want your dough to be as tender as possible, so the less flour you add, the better. And this is how I like to knead my dough. You can also do with your knuckles, you can turn it, you can fold it, push with both hands. It's whatever makes you feel most comfortable. There's no right or wrong way, not to me at least. Starting to feel less sticky, but it's still sticky. And you usually do this for anywhere from 6 to 8, 10 minutes. Just do it by feel. The way I like to know when mine is ready to rise, I think people do a poke test when they know if their dough is ready to bake, but I do a poke test for when I know if it's ready to rise. That's just how I get my consistent results. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not. It might be. I'm uncertain. Okay, you guys, this is how I like to test if my dough has enough elasticity in it. I just poke it, and if it comes back up slowly like that, I think it's ready to go. That is what I do every single time. And it comes out the same every time. I think there are different other tests you can find on the internet to test your dough, but this is what works for me. I shape the dough into a tighter little ball to help with the rise process. And you just, she's ready to bake. That is what she looks like prior. A little cloth over her. Some people do a damp cloth, damp paper towel, or saran wrap with some nonstick spray. And you just wait about an hour or so, give or take, and she'll be ready to bake. So here is the dough ball, doubled in size. You can poke it if the hole stays. She's ready. Put her dough. I have a scale now, you guys. Here we go.
Get off. Set you on the ground for a reason. It does not mean turn around and try to climb back on.
The first time in my life, these are the exact same size balls. Pretty crazy for me to have a scale now. First disc doesn't need to be in a perfect circle, obviously, because it's going to get twisted and folded. It calls for a fourth a cup. I always do more. I just like it packed. A fourth a cup for the whole thing. I usually do a fourth a cup per layer or more. But again, use your own discretion. You guys will know what sounds good to you. Got our second layer. If you don't want to be as crazy as me or as I am and handle your dough in your hands like this and try to get it laid on just perfectly, you can roll it over your rolling pin and then bring it over here. I've just never done that. I mean, I've tried to, and it just isn't my favorite. I just like to pick it up and bring it over here. You live and you learn. Now that I've done this, I feel like it might have been better to do the lemon curd first because the huckleberries are all lumpy, so it's gonna be harder to spread the lemon curd over these humps. Okay, it's good enough. I think I only had it in the fridge for about an hour, but it's set up enough. Oh, you know what? The lemon curd is so smooth, it doesn't matter. It's going over very nicely. Okay, I put my last layer on. I usually just use the lid of a mason jar to make a little circular center. You don't want to press too hard or it'll leave a permanent indent. And then you just cut all the time. And then you cut in between them again. And then one more time in between each of those. We've got it all cut. And then you just take two ends and you twist, twist, and then pinch them. And you do that all the way around. Twist, twist, pinch. And this is what you will have. And you just let it rise until it's doubled again. And then I usually just pinch the ends again because sometimes as they rise, they come unpinched. This is what it looks like, a little puffier. I just kind of went around and re-pinched some of the edges. Okay, guys, this is the finished product. She got a little wonky in the middle there, but still pretty. Guys, my child is in the background watching TV and enjoying the fun, so that's what you're hearing. But we're gonna try this and see if it's good. Oh, it's so good! It's good. It's a winner, guys. It's a winner.